creations, I want to give him this chance so that he can tell the nation what government is planning around these three funds. Thank you, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, the MP for Kiaru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, even for that generous, very generous introduction. First of all, I rise to support the fact that we should have this FAD, very important FAD CDF in our constitution, because, Mr. Speaker, even from the onset, of all the FADs we have in this country, and all the devolved FADs we have in this country, including the county FADs, Mr. Speaker, there is no FAD that is more efficient and that has got as many tangible projects as NGCDF. Going around the country, Mr. Speaker, anywhere, from whichever side of the country, you realize that most of the brick and mortar projects, tangible projects that you see around, are projects that have been funded by NGCDF. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, NGCDF starts tall as a fund that should be emulated by the others. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, the more the reason we have had many countries, especially in Africa, coming to benchmark with CDF. A country like Zambia, the current devolved fund they are running currently, they came to Kenya to learn on how to have such a fund. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, a good idea should only give room or way to a better idea. A good idea should not give room to a bad idea. We already have a very good idea in CDF and DCDF. The best we can do is to entrench it and strengthen it. One of the features that is very enviable insofar as CDF and DCDF is concerned, Mr. Speaker, is the fact that as we grapple with issues, and especially physically speaking, when you are budgeting, when we are expending public money, the elephant in the room is always about the fact that we spend most of our money on recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker, at the expense of development expenditure. But, Mr. Speaker, this NGCDF is a very good learning tool, even to the national government, on how to render service to the Kenyan people. Because out of 100 shillings that is remitted by NGCDF, only 5%, Mr. Speaker, goes into expenditure that is recurrent in nature. 95 shillings out of 100 goes into tangible projects that benefit the community, Mr. Speaker. And I can cite many examples because I've gone across many constituencies. But I want to cite where I represent, Mr. Speaker. Kiharu constituency is the largest rural constituency in the entire Mount Kenya region in regards to the size and in regards to population. We have around 112 public primary schools. Out of all the 112 public primary schools, Mr. Speaker, NGCDF has got a chance to transform all of them, which were totally dilapidated, the normal rural schools. And all of them 100%. Currently, they look, and to quote like academies, Mr. Speaker, the children of ordinary parents now go to classrooms and primary schools in Kiharu, where all of them, 100% without exception, are tiled. And by tiling, I mean we have been able to refurbish the rest in terms of the other amenities that are provided in a classroom. We have also been, like many other constituencies, been able to do a lot in regards to the security sector, in supporting our administration, supporting our security officers, installing security lights, and therefore this fund has been very integral to the development of our regions, of our localities, and also enhancing security. Mr. Speaker, there is only one thing that I will invite this House that we look at, because this House, I'm sure, we are very reasonable people. And I'm speaking even on the other side of the sphere. So that when we get to the third reading, I'm sure it's far away, but we should be preparing that we front a percentage that will be acceptable by all parties. Because this is a house of debate, it is a house of negotiations. Even budget making process is a negotiating, or is a process of negotiating. And I'm sure when we reach there, we'll cross the bridge when we get to the river, Mr. Speaker, so that we come up with a percentage that will be sustainable and that will be acceptable to all parties, so that we do not squeeze too much and lose too much as we chase for what we are chasing for. And I'm sure even the promoters of this bill are reasonable. They are my friends. We will sit down so that we have a percentage that is acceptable, and so that we remove all the hurdles on the way, Mr. Speaker, so that we are able to entrench CDF in our constitution. As I come to IDAP, Mr. Speaker, this House will have to revisit one thing that was actually anchored there before in our regulations, something called the county development committees. I am sure many members in this House can bear me witness that the kind of development that we undertake, insofar as when we are oversighting NGCDF, and on the other side when we are oversighting KERA, and especially what we call 22%, there is usually a lot of duplication with the other agencies. Mr. Speaker, we will need to come up with a law that will enforce that the kind of work we do in leadership is not work that has got regards to hearts and feelings of leaders. We should engage our mind, not our hearts. And I'm saying this because we must need a round table of members of parliament, of governors, of other leaders in the county, so that once we say that this road is going to be constructed by the county government, the same cannot be duplicated by any other fund. And the role of the County Development Board was to bring about all these leaders so that we streamline development, so that if NGCDF is handling this kind of development, then it cannot be found in the books of the county that the money from the county was expended in the same project. And because we are serving the same people, we need this kind of coherence, this kind of synergy, so that we are able to give proper service and aligned service to the people that we serve. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and of course, I support.
Honorable Nyoro, you did not address the House on the proposed oversight fund, but I assume those are the matters you've indicated you could discuss with the proponents separately. You know, we take your words very seriously, because when you speak, the government is speaking. Do you want to say something on that, or it is something you'll confer separately?
Mr. Speaker, when Honorable Gashofe of Subukia speaks, the government is speaking, and I'm sure he's next in line. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sana. Thank you, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, MP for Kiaru, and thank you for the good work you're doing with CDF. I would request the new MPs to visit Kiaru constituency if you